Hey everyone, this is Phil. Welcome to the video. This video is going to be on the HuaMeng YS3M, designed by Yu Today we're going to be showing the solves from everyone in the office, plus special guest Cubehead. Yo! So we'll be going over our opinions on the ball core version of the YS3M. That's the one that we consider the top cube that more serious competitors are likely to try. This cube is $25.99 at TheCubicle.com. We'll have a link in the description. And without further ado, let's get into the solves. All right, so here are my solves. I had the YS3M for about 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about the cube. I haven't been excited about a cube since the Tornado V3, and before that, I really don't remember. Maybe it was the Tornado V2, but my point is, very few cubes excite me like this. So in summary, I think the cube is really good. So what I'm using here is actually a slightly modified version of the YS3M. Basically, I took the blue components for the elasticity adjustment from the RS3 2020 and just plugged them into this cube. This was suggested to be by my friends Jacob Noakes and Stephen Winteringham. So basically what they noticed was that the blue component has a little more space because the base is thinner than the purple one. And because of that, you get more space and more room to compress the cube. So if I was using the cube on stock tensions and stock components, I would be using compression 1 or 0. And for this one, I'm using compression 5, and I feel that's a lot more even. I get the cube feeling a little less snappy, so that's great. So I think the biggest thing for me is I perform well on the cube. Besides the potentially confusing different versions and all that other stuff, if you just focus on the cube itself, I do get really good times on it. I can't argue with that. Every time I do a session, I surprise myself with the good times I'm getting. A few times on stream, actually, I was averaging 8, and I know for myself that's not something I'm entitled to, and that's definitely a surprise for me. It's a really good feeling, especially when you've been cubing as long as I have. I haven't competed with this cube yet, but I'm really excited to try and see how it goes. All in all, I think this is a very competitive cube. It's definitely competitive with the Tornado V3 and the GAN 13, especially if you like stronger magnets. Anyways, thanks for listening, and catch you later.
Hey guys, it's Jesse, and I'm really liking the YS3M so far. It's got a very crunchy, tactile feel. It reminds me a lot of older MoYu cubes, specifically the RS3M 2020. That's the one that this cube has been compared to a lot. And while it's clear that these are very distinct cubes, they're, if you turn them next to each other, they're not the same. But I'd be lying if I said there weren't a good amount of similarities. The YS3M is distinctly more crunchy and blocky. It also has a lot of weight to it. The layers feel really heavy, which I think also contributes to its kind of blocky feeling. But this cube certainly is not the epitome of light, airy design like GAN cubes. But if you don't like that feel, and I know there's a lot of you that don't, this cube is going to be right up your alley. For a flagship release from MoYu though, I gotta say I was hoping for just a little bit more. We've got no adjustable magnets and the exact same dual adjustment system that MoYu has been using for years now. I'm pretty sure since the GTS 3. At the very least, I would have liked to see hand adjustable compression like what we see in the Tornado V3. Just, for a flagship cube, the YS3M still feels very budget oriented, and that's also clearly reflected in the price. Now, obviously a low price isn't a bad thing, but it does seem like this cube is lacking some features. Honestly, this cube feels much more like what I think I was expecting the RS3M Super to feel like. It feels kind of like a more direct follow-up to the RS3M 2020. But to be honest, I think I like the Super more than this cube. To me, it has a more cohesive feel, and I also lock up less on it. I will say though that that's a bit of a skill issue because I do spam TPS a lot in last layer, which then leads to a lot of the lockups that I complain about. But just overall for me, the Super is a more forgiving cube. It's also a bit lighter, so I tend to just prefer it a little more. Here's the thing though, the ball core YS3M I do think is better than the ball core Super. So I do agree with what kind of seems to be the popular opinion here, that the standard Super is better than the standard YS3M, but the ball core YS3M is better than the ball core Super. That being said, I think the standard Super is, for me at least, better than the ball core YS3M. Again, completely subjective opinion, but are you seeing the problem here? It's getting a little confusing. I think there's just too many versions. It's a little too much. I really think some simplification is needed here. I don't think we need 6 versions of a MoYu cube in the span of 5 months. Having more options for the customer is, like, in theory, a good thing, but at this point, with how many versions of every cube there are out there these days, I think it's starting to give people like choice paralysis, right? Where you just have have too many options and it makes you not want to choose at all. I think just picking the best one of the three and really pushing that one as the flagship would have been the smarter move here. So I'm still holding out hope that MoYu is cooking up a new version of the WRM or something like that as like their true 2023 flagship. But for right now, at least, trying to take all of my subjective opinions out of it, I do think the ball core YS3M is probably the best MoYu cube you can get right now. Anyways, that's all for me. See you guys later.
Hey guys, so I'm a huge fan of the YS3, at least the ball core version. I haven't tried the other two. Yeah, this is pretty much what I'd hoped the Super would be like. It reminds me a lot of the RS3 2020. It even looks like it. It almost just feels like they made it flagship worthy, honestly. So yeah, I really love the feeling of it. I'm kind of struggling to get good times on it. I don't know if that's just because I'm rusty or I'm just not a fan of the lube setup, but the cube feels really good. Yeah, I'll have to experiment more with the cube itself because this is probably the most I've liked a cube right away since like the Worm 2019, which is kind of saying a lot because for the most part, I'm really picky. So really excited to see what everyone thinks of this cube, and I can't wait to see what it helps people accomplish in competitions. So that's it.
Hey, it's Jules. The YS3 is certainly a great cube from a MoYu fanboy like me. At 55mm, it's certainly a more compact cube, and its performance is not better or worse than the Super 2022, it's just different. I would say that the YS3 is a little bit more blocky, whereas the Super 2022 is a little bit more flexy, so it's really a preference thing at this point. So if you like the Super 2022, but you find yourself flexing a lot on it and it's causing it to be clunky, this would probably be a really decent option for you. But it's not without its downsides. It's pretty lightweight, but it's not super lightweight. But I prefer cubes with a lot more heft to them. Non-adjustable magnets is another thing, but let's be honest with ourselves, you weren't gonna adjust the magnets anyways, even if you had the choice. Also, the out-of-box feel feels drastically different compared to a cube that's already been broken in. Adjustments as you use the cube will be necessary to make this cube really stand out. Other than that, it's a pretty simple cube that's actually pretty refreshing given today's super hyper customizable cubes in the market right now. Being released in a price range similar to the Super 2022, it'll be interesting to see how many people will actually choose this cube over the established popularity of the RS3. Still, I would really recommend it.
Hey everyone, Damian here. So I was initially really excited about this new flagship from MoYu. A new name, new logo, everything seemed to be shaping up. And then when I got it, I wasn't disappointed. It turned well out of the box. You know, it had that scratchy feel that most MoYu cubes have. But then I kept solving on it. If I'm not warmed up, this frosted exterior honestly slips in my hands constantly. And the magnets are so strong that they almost make the cube feel blocky. And I just can't get used to the M slices. Something about the HuaMeng technology just makes them unmanageable and way too fast. The overall feel honestly reminds me of the WRM 2020, if you guys remember that, and we know how that turned out. Either way though, I am excited to see MoYu branch out, even if it is just in the name, because the last thing we needed was a way long WRM version 5 or whatever iteration we're on now. It would be nice though to see a new adjustment mechanism from MoYu. This dual adjustment with the blue nuts has been around since I think 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. So at least 5 or 6 years with the same adjustment mechanism. Now they have added maglev and now some of the nuts are purple, but it's basically the same thing. Overall, I do think this is a decent release from MoYu, and if better cubers than me, which are most cubers, think that it's good, you should listen to them. I just don't think it fits my specific turning style, and there aren't enough adjustments to make it fit my turning style, unfortunately. So, good try from MoYu. I hope you guys love it. I'm not a big fan.
What's up guys, it's your boy Cubehead. Anyways, I got the, what's it called? The HuaMeng YS3M, and I've been using it for just an hour or so, so this is more of a first impressions, but oh boy do I have stuff to say. Let's just start with this. Why MoYu? Why would you release 3 versions of this cube and 3 versions of the MoYu RS3 Super with just $5 apart? I mean, are you trying to compete with yourself, or do you want to confuse your customers? But to summarize for you guys, get the base model Super RS3 and the bulk core YS3M, which is the one I'm using right here. Second thing, this is probably the long-awaited new MoYu flagship cube since the WRM hasn't been updated in quite some time, but no adjustable magnets and the same dual adjustment system we could find in the original RS3? I mean, it's 2023 and you expect me to use a screwdriver? I mean, with all the latest releases, it seems like this cube is just another alteration of the RS3 in hopes that they change something in a way that somehow works. But I guess they managed to do just that, since I can honestly say that I've never felt so comfortable with a new release so fast as with this cube. Yes, it is a MoYu cube and it resembles stuff we've tried before, but still it's different. It somehow feels super blocky without having to compromise the corner cutting. Yes, it has no adjustable magnets, but perhaps not having the extra mechanism makes this cube more smooth than anything out there. Perhaps it is not for everyone, because I have to say the cube is pretty heavy and the magnets are really strong. But I think this is the cube I've been waiting for. The sub 8 average you saw earlier in the video was literally my first average I ever did on this cube after setting it up. I'm already sub 9 on this cube, which is absurd. And you know, perhaps this cube is for you too. Do you want to find out? Hashtag Radio Voids. Go to TheCubicle.com and use discount code Cubehead with a C for a huge discount. Yes, I got the chance to plug myself on this channel. Whoop, whoop. Anyways, ciao guys. Cubehead out.